Hello? You play to win the game.
Welcome to the show where football is king.
If you want to crown them, then crown them.
It's 2 hours of all football.
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
What, you think we talk about anything else on this show?
Playoffs? You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
From Score on Air, the next generation of sports talk. This is the Gridiron Show with Deshaun Isaac. And welcome to the show. And hold on, let me see if my audio here. There we go. I can hear myself here. And we are live and direct from the Safranco Studios here on the campus of the Ohio Media School here in Columbus. My name is Deshaun Isaac, and you know my voice too much. I'll probably annoy you too dang much. But you notice my name is not alone this week. For today, we have a co-host here. For the first time in months, we have a new voice in the room.
I'm Shadrik Brown. How you doing?
And welcome, Shadrik, to this crazy thing we call the Gridiron Show. So I want to say welcome to you, man, and I wish you all the best here, man, because this is a new era for us here. We just started it about a month ago here. We already got 12 episodes on Anchor, which you see all that on the bottom, ladies and gentlemen? That is all the ways you can get in touch with the Gridiron Show. We never had that many ways to get in touch with the Sports Unfiltered Show. We're doing that with the Gridiron Show. You can get in touch with us on Facebook at facebook.com/The Gridiron Show, on Twitter at gridiron_show, on Instagram at gridiron.show, and on anchor.fm. Just type in the anchor.fm/The Gridiron Show. So those are the ways you can get in touch with this show. And where you can get in touch with us via your Facebook post, because we want to hear what you have to say as we do this show every single week here on Score on Air Network, and we're very happy to be on board with you here. And Shadrik, I wish you all the best, man. Don't worry, you're in with the best show here. Just letting you know.
Thanks. I'm excited. Get ready to talk about all this football.
Hey, that's what we do here. That's what we do. We have a lot to talk about, and we're going to do something that's probably been beaten into the ground 11 times, but we got to talk about it because it is a monster deal.
A monster deal.
Monster deal. Here's the thing. The salary cap number came out. The salary cap came out to $182.5 million. Dax over the next 4 years is almost getting as much as the salary cap. He's getting $160 million over the next 4 years. And that's literally the salary cap, ladies and gentlemen.
They're not going to be able to draft anybody.
Yeah. They ain't going to be able to draft, but he's getting paid, ladies and gentlemen. But here's the weird thing. They got a good core in Dallas. So here's the numbers, ladies and gentlemen. It's a 4-year, $160 million deal. $75 million of that is guaranteed is going to be paid to him in year one. There is $123 million guaranteed. He's only a $21 million cap hit this year. Much cheaper than if he was going to be under franchise tag. So Dallas wins. He wins. Everybody wins. Only people that feel like they lost are Cowboys fans that are absolutely whining about the deal. I have heard it. They're going like, oh my God, how do we pay this much to Dak Prescott? How can we pay this much money?
Well, if you listen to Michael Irvin, he'll tell you why. He's the closest thing to Tom Brady, says Michael Irvin. That's just outrageous.
Which, if I remember Michael Irvin back in the day, Michael Irvin has a lot of experiences with a lot of substances that we don't need to talk about here on this show. But I kind of see where he's going off here. I know, crazy. Like, the closest we have to man, I would disagree with him and said, no, the closest thing we have to Tom Brady, played Tom Brady, and didn't have an offensive line, but we're going to talk about that in the 5 o'clock hour with our boy Fred Wheeler on the show. And Fred's going to drop some knowledge on you. If you ain't listening during the 5 o'clock hour, you better listen. You better listen. If you say, I don't know what's going on with the draft, you better listen at 5 because Fred's going to drop some knowledge on you. To me, when I heard this deal, I was, recording the show on Monday. And it was like near the end of the recording session, and I see this ad saying, Dak's 160, 75 million first year. Dak got paid. And that's literally how I take away from this.
I mean, I do enjoy to see a black man get paid. I'm not against it. Not against it at all. So like, I'm happy that Dallas decided to go ahead and give Dak that money. But I mean, is he worth it?
Okay, let's look at the Let's look at the NFC East here. You got the Washington situation. Washington right now do not have any real quarterback in the room.
That's the truth.
You look at the Eagles, they're going to have Jalen Hurts there, but
iffy
because you have your receivers who do not know how to catch a ball.
They have no receivers in Philly right now.
Probably the safest place to be is probably the Philadelphia receivers room if you're trying not to catch COVID or any diseases because they can't catch anything out there. I know that's wrong. I know I'm wrong. Lord knows I'm wrong on that one. But
couldn't catch a cold in Antarctica.
And even Antarctica going like, you couldn't even catch a plane to get here. So how you gonna get here? But that's not the point. The point is those two rooms are dysfunctional right now. The third is the New York Giants, and you still got a quarterback that's still trying to find his way.
And you got Saquon Barkley, who may not make it through a season ever, because has he finished one?
Maybe his first year, but second year we know he did not finish. Like he's good.
He's great.
He's absolutely one of the best running backs in the league, but the question is his durability. Does he have it? Does he not have it? What is going on with his durability? And I look at that NFC East, you have a stable quarterback with Dax. You have at least a good tight end. You have two really good. You have Amari Cooper. You have CeeDee Lamb. You have Zeke, who really needs to start producing.
Yeah, I couldn't wait till we got to Zeke because I was really wondering.
Unload, brother. This is the show you unload on here.
Because along with Dak, I mean Zeke was doing great. He was great. Now he's just like middle of the road running back, and it's like making me question whether he's worth it as well.
And you know what? We're getting to the point where maybe next year, there could be setting up and saying, hey, Zeke, this is, even though we're going to kind of not salary cap you, we're going to kind of cut you if you are an underperforming player, even though that's going to be a hard cut on them. That's going to be a horrible cut on them. But Dallas has the tools.
They really do.
Out of all the four teams you name, they have the tools to not just win that division, but to dominate that division completely. But right now, it's
so they have the tools, but they don't have the will or the playbook or who knows what else they need, because for some reason they still didn't make the playoffs in that terrible division.
That's the thing. Washington made the playoffs. Washington is the playoff team out of that division last year. And And the Cowboys, last year, they had injury issues.
Half the time, Washington didn't even have a quarterback. They had Dwayne Haskins, who was doing who knows what.
Oh, we know what he was doing. Is just
throwing picks.
Oh yeah,
throwing to everybody but Washington receivers.
Yeah, pretty much. If you sat at a Washington game, you probably went like.
You probably caught a pass. In the
you
stands.
caught a pass. I didn't know. Like, I'm not even at the damn stadium, but I caught a pass. Like, you don't even need to be at FedEx Field, ladies and gentlemen. You can catch a pass from outside of FedEx Field because our quarterback is going to throw them. But that's how it goes with them. I don't know what to say except there's possibilities for them to do something.
Dallas on paper, for a while, has been a good team. Like, on paper, Dallas every year comes with the heat. Mm-hmm. And then they play. And then you're like, well, what is this paper here for? Ball it up, throw it away, and put it on fire. Because there's no reason for all these names with high-profile talent to do what they do on the field every Sunday and then stink it up.
It's like, I don't know what to say. It's like they don't click. They're an organization that should click and should be able to get wins, should be able to do all these things, should be able to be a competitive organization, but they've never been able to put it all together in that team. And that's a pretty damning statement right there. But hey, Dak's getting paid. He's getting paid 40 plus a year. Gonna get $75 million this year with his $66 million signing bonus. Gonna walk away with 123 of Jerry Jones's money. And Jerry Jones say, I'm happy that Dak took me. Now if Jerry Jones, in all his wiseness and all his walliness, ends up winning a Super Bowl with Dax and makes us look stupid, okay. Make us look stupid. I want to look stupid.
I'm willing to take that. I'm willing to take that hit too.
Yeah.
I grew up with my dad being one of the 90s Cowboys fans who was during the era of Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin and Deion Sanders and all, and Troy Aikman. But, you know.
Yeah, you just put him up in the booth and hope he doesn't get lost up there with Joe Buck.
Right. And then, so, like, I grew up almost being a Cowboys fan. I was ready. And then I watched. And then, like, they kept disappointing me as a child. So, like, as a child, I was just like, I can't do this anymore. And as an adult, I'm still like, I can't do this. How are they like this? Like, how has it been like this for 20 plus years?
And you know what? That was probably your best decision as a kid. You probably sat down and you went like, I can't do this.
Yeah, I can't be
a Cowboys fan.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I realized I could be a Buckeye fan on Saturday, but my family is all spread out across the map. I got one Cowboy fan. I got one Ravens fan. My mom's a Ravens fan. My dad's a Bills fan. I'm a Titans fan. My sister's a Browns fan. And my grandpa's a Browns fan.
Huh.
So it's all over the map. We have no loyalties of NFL-wise.
Thanksgiving is a weird day for you guys.
Thanksgiving is pretty much, football on.
Yeah,
we'll just watch it.
Like, y'all's opposing teams are always playing on Thanksgiving. Like, all the teams y'all like all play on Thanksgiving.
The Titans haven't been on Thanksgiving for, like, years.
True.
I now know, okay, I don't have to see my Titans don't have to worry about no Thanksgiving game this year. We're good. All I'm good is we get usually the 1:15 game, and we usually get the 4:45, 4:15 game, if we're really good. And it ain't going to be showed in Columbus.
True.
But hey, man, we got to take a break here, and when we come right back, we got to talk about this situation with Ohio State And we got to talk about Les Miles, because Les is out at Kansas. And today there has been a development with that. His AD is gone as well. The AD is out as well. He's stepping down. Not exactly what it seems. We'll tell you more coming up next right here on the Gridiron Show, presented by our friends at Theater People. Stay tuned. This is Score on Air, the next generation of sports talk. And we are back here on Score on Air, the next generation sports talk. I'm Deshaun Isaac. That's Shadrik Brown. We are the Gridiron Show here on Score on Air Network. And let me just say, we're having too much fun here on the show, but we need to thank our sponsor who gives us this. Actually, I don't need to thank the sponsor. I'm going to do that after we talk about, after I talk about Les Miles. Les is having some, issues. He's had a hard day here. His day has not been, he has not had the best of weeks. And God bless him, he tries. He is trying, ladies and gentlemen. He's trying to have a good week, but it's just not going to work for him here. Where is the slide? Did I grab the slide? Here's the thing. I'm messing with my backup drive, but it's like you got your backup drive and you're looking at it and you need to go back and look at what you're doing. But hey, I'm learning what I got in my drive today, because we have to talk about the situation with him this week. Because this week he was fired. Even though it's not officially he's fired, he was fired. So here's the situation with Les Miles. Les Miles was let go after he was having inappropriate behavior towards female students. What it was he dove in the DMs of young girls on campus, and he allegedly, according to this investigation, he was doing this off campus. He was mentoring girls off campus alone. He said allegedly he said, I only kissed one girl. Allegedly they said he kissed one. He said I didn't kiss her, but it just sounds so suspect here, so sleazy here, that you were on campus and he said all I was doing was mentoring our young women.
I just got one question.
Sure.
On what? What are you mentoring them on? You're a football coach. Like a men's football coach. What are you mentoring them on? What is the job that?
I'm going to mentor them on the birds and bees and
that's like literally all I can think of.
And I'm gonna run some miles. And I'm not talking running. I'm talking miles. Me. But he was fired for that behavior, ladies and gentlemen. And his good buddy was Jeff Long. Jeff Long was buddies with him during the late 80s, early 90s when he was coaching around at Michigan. He was the athletic director. As the university announced Wednesday that Jeff Long was stepping down as athletic director. Long actually hired Miles as the KU coach in 2018. The two have a long-standing relationship going back to their days together at Michigan in the late 1980s and early 1990s. In a statement, Long said he and Kansas Chancellor Dr. Douglas Gerard met on Tuesday night and agreed that it was in the best interest of the KU student athletes and program that Long stepped down as athletic director. Long said he leaves KU with profound confidence that I've always acted in the best interest of Kansas athletics. By bringing my friend over he's a good guy, but he likes to mentor young women.
You know, every now and then.
Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with that.
Mentoring the youth. And,
we got to mentor our youth. I don't really want to mentor our young men, but I want to mentor our young women.
He gets enough of mentoring young men on the football field, you know? Gotta make sure you touch both genders.
Yes. Gender equality, ladies and gentlemen. Gender equality. The wrong kind of gender equality, by the way, but gender equality nonetheless. Going on, Long added in his statement that the KU student athletes have always been the priority, and this decision today was based on the very premise that it is clear that my continued service as the athletic director would only serve as a distraction to the nearly 500 incredible young men and women in our athletic department, as well as our outstanding coaches and staffs who support them. According to a redacted separation agreement released by the university on Wednesday, Long will be paid regular monthly salary payments and receive benefits through the end of March. Then receive monthly settlement payments of $125,000 through February 2022, totaling $1.375 million. So he's being paid to go the bleep away.
I mean, if I get fired, I'd like to be fired like that. That's a solid severance package. Give me $1 million to leave. I'll leave.
Shoot, I would leave for $1 million. If you're telling me you're not allowed to talk about this in any way, shape, or form, you're not allowed to really talk about this like this. We don't want you to be talking.
Mom's a word.
Here's
right.
1.3. Here's your regular salary. Then we're gonna pay you to $125,000 a month to just go away. Now, Gerard, who praised Long for his service to the university, announced that longtime donor Kurt Watson will serve as interim athletic director. Gerard said he will lead the process in finding a new athletic director with the assistance of a search firm and 4 alumni advisors, each whom have experience in college athletics: Linda Lella Slim, Ray Evans, John Ballard, Wayne Simeon. Those names aren't important. He's still technically there. Once a new AD is hired, Gerard said that individual will then spearhead the search for the head coach. So here's the thing. We're going to search for the AD first. Then we're going to get the head coach. So literally in the span of 1 week, Kansas Athletics went from having a head coach and a AD to not having a head coach, not having an AD, and I'm not sure where they're going to be in the tournament this year. That's who I need to ask Mark Fedges where they're going to be. Mark will know because he's our college basketball guy, so he would know. This is what he said. I know this past week has been challenging for us who love Kansas Athletic, but I'm heartened by the passion of our university community, Gerard said in a statement. Since becoming chancellor, I have spent countless hours with Jayhawks to hear their perspective on KU. A common theme in these conversations is that we must strive for excellence in all areas, including athletics. Only reason you're saying that is that sweet Big 12 money.
Gotta love that NCAA check, man.
Yeah, that NCAA. Listen, when that NCAA check clears and you're a university, you're going like, life is good.
Unless you're a player, then you're just like,
oh, player.
It's great to be a slave.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much the story of the situation. Okay, Law said during his virtual news conference on Tuesday that he asked Miles directly during the interview process in 2018 if there was anything in the past that could potentially embarrass the university or the KU program. He said no, Log said, and we did our due diligence by talking to individuals within the LSU athletic department to see if there was anything that we should be aware of regarding Coach Miles' tenure at LSU, and received no indications of any issues. Let me tell you how that probably went. Hey, Les, do you have any issues? Like, I don't have any issues. I don't think I have any issues. What are, like, athletic department, like, they were probably looking for NCAA violations.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably a history. This doesn't seem like new behavior for Les. This is probably a thing that's happened at every institution he's worked at.
And that's a sad part too. That is the sad part as well, that this is not new for him and is just the absolute ugly situation that we have to talk about here. All right, I want to remind you that the Gridiron Show is proudly presented by our friends at the Feeder People. The Feeder People are Central Ohio's premier name in home and office technology. They will know what you need to get to build the best home office, to build the best home setup and or office setup on the block. All you need to do is call our friends at the Feeder People. Just call them up at, actually, I'm trying to pull. This is what you get when you're doing 250 different things at the same time. No, not that. I screwed up majorly. Okay, move you up a bit here. Excuse me a second. I got to clean up this screw up here. But I'm going to transition and let you know that, again, the Gridiron Show is proudly presented by the Feeder People. The Feeder People are Central Ohio's premier name in home and office technology. They will know what you need to have the best home setup on the block. Call 614-604-6327 or visit TTP Columbus. And don't you forget to amplify your personality with the Feeder People. And listen, the Feeder People built this studio for us, and they put their magic and their technology in here that we can actually view what we're doing here. And let me just say, from what it is then to what it is now, if they can do that for your home office or your home studio, trust me, you got good people to work with. So call up my friends at the Feeder People. They will make sure your setup is tight and is right there. Again, we're back with the Gridiron Show. Deshaun Isaac, Shadrik Brown with you here. And we got to talk about Ohio State here. Ohio State has some issues right now. I'm going to admit to you, even though it said 44, we're going to probably go at 50 here. Inside baseball, everybody. Woo! Or coaching. Calling the audible here. So we got to talk about Ohio State spring football here, because if everybody was excited to hear about Ohio State football, everybody was ready to talk some Ohio State football.
I was ready to talk Ohio State football, and I'm barely a fan.
Yeah. COVID said, no, you're not talking Ohio State football.
Gosh darn coronavirus.
Virus, get gone. Get gone. We're close. It's at 155 today. We now know the countdown is on. It's 155 per 100,000. 50 is the number that counts, that ends this all. We're waiting. We are waiting. Trust me, it cannot get here soon enough.
Yeah.
So here's what happened this week. Ohio State on Tuesday paused all football-related activities and closed its athletic administrative offices for 1 week after an increase in positive cases for the coronavirus, the university said in a statement on Tuesday. The Buckeyes said the decision to pause football activities and close the Woody Hayes Athletic Center offices were made jointly by the athletic director, Gene Smith, and head team physician, Dr. Jim Borgers, out of an abundance of caution and with the health, safety, and well-being of student athletes, coaches, and football facilities support staff as the highest priority. The decision was made after a round of PCR testing. And for people who are not in the know, antigen is like your probable, we think this is the case. PCR is, okay, this is confirmed. That's the swab up the nose. They shove up the nose and do that test for people who don't know. That's the swab up the nose test.
It is uncomfortable.
It made me watered up.
Man, I screamed a little bit. I'm not afraid to say it.
I wanted to. I wanted to.
I had cotton on my brain. I didn't like that. That hurt.
Yeah, that cotton. listen, that cotton, when you put it on the brain, it gets weird. I got the little plastic one, like, so it's like, I might have a piece of plastic or how my brain is working. It like, oh, we just made you 5 IQ points smarter. Either way. But they said our decision on the welfare of our student athletes, staff members, and those coming to our campus, and our determination as to when we will reopen and resume activities will continue to be guided by our medical staff. They said we've been successfully hosting nearly 100 athletic events on campus, including a few football games as well. This year with limited disruptions, but this pandemic is not over. We will continue to stress safety measures by wearing masks, consistent and thorough hand washing, physical distancing, and we will remain vigilant in those areas. The Buckeyes are scheduled to start spring practice on March 19th. So, do the math here. You got the 9th. Today, this happened on the 9th, 8th, 9th, around that area. A week is about 7 days, so that will put you at the 16th as to when they could possibly come back to the Woody Hayes. But they are scheduled to start spring practice on March 19th, and the spring football game is still scheduled for April 17th, if you're wondering. Because we're hoping, who knows, we could have that game with people in the stands. Of course, knowing Ohio State, they might say, bump that.
I mean,
go watch it on the Big Ten Network. We'll still get that money.
They probably will. They probably will say stay home for the fans and just have it empty stadium, or like a 10, maybe at the most 10,000. 10,000,
about 10, 20,000. Remember, Ohio Stadium, it can have 30% in there.
Yeah, and it's a huge stadium. So.
And that's 30,000, and you can have 30,000 in the stadium. That's still a big crowd for a spring game.
That's a solid crowd for a spring game. You'll definitely hear them on the. You'll definitely be able to hear them, but it won't be the same.
It won't be 90,000 in the stadium for a glorified practice. Okay.
Yeah.
And listen, I love the Gridiron. This is a Gridiron show. You think we're going to be romanticizing things on this show? No. Spring football is a glorified practice. And Ohio State can draw 90,000 to a glorified practice. That should tell you how much this city looks.
That's clout right there.
That's stroke in this city. That's not clout. That's stroke. Literally, you can say, hey, we're having practice. You want to watch? And you know what? We'll charge you $5 too to watch it. And people will pay that money.
It's true.
They will say we had a sold out crowd at a spring game. How many universities can say that? None. Alabama could probably say that.
There's probably a couple schools in the SEC that could do it, because football is,
football is a religion.
But not too many more schools can do that. I don't know if Michigan could do that. I don't know.
Not right now with how they've been playing recently.
Yeah, man. Definitely not. Do they still have fans?
They still have fans. They still have some fans there. Okay, I'm gonna save this topic for next week here because we're gonna talk about their depth chart later on. We'll save that for next week here because that's a good topic to talk about because their 2021 depth chart is interesting to say the least of where it's at.
Up in the air.
It's there's some solid parts, but it's a lot of up in the air stuff. We're gonna have to see it develop, and we might see a delay on the development, but it's going to develop very soon here. So hopefully Ohio State will get back to normal here.
That's another thing that the quarterback situation. How are with all this time off? How do you evaluate who the quarterback's going to be? It's crunch time. It's time to get a front man. We need one.
That's going to be a very good question because I don't know who I would like. You got C.J. Stroud. All three of them really do not have the experience that you want out of Ohio State quarterback. And listen, I'm not the Buckeye. I'm not the Buckeye Bro show. I will tell you honestly, I'm not going to cover it I'm not going to wear scarlet and gray glasses here. I'm going to tell you how it goes. That's how we do it on the gridiron. That's how we do it here. We ain't going to be nice on the gridiron. Ohio State has too many questions for me to go Ohio State is one of the top 4 teams in the country, at least top 5 teams in the country, because I need to see that quarterback situation. And that
Absolutely.
Quarterback situation scare out of, if I'm an Ohio State fan right now, I'm not getting too much sleep over that quarterback situation.
Well, they're not bad. It's just we don't know exactly how good they are. And that's what this spring training is supposed to show us. And I hope that they all put on a show.
Yep, we'll see what they do here because it's going to be very interesting to see. All right, I'm going to take a break, but when we come right back, we got to talk about the CFL and XFL are talking collab. Could we see CFL fields in America? Could we see some XFL rules come and
Into the CFL? Yeah, that'd be.
could you see the end of the 110-yard field?
Start getting chairs coming out from the bottom of the
Yeah,
and then they're just hitting each other with chairs on the field. That'd be solid.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
CFL.
Hardcore. It's not just Canadian, it's hardcore Canadian.
Yeah, that's what happens when you add the XFL. You get coming off the top rope now.
And even in the CFL, will they smell what exactly is the Rock cooking right now? With the CFL-XFL deal. We'll talk about it coming up next right here on the Gridiron Show, presented by our friends at the Fitter People. Stay tuned. Gridiron Show is coming up next with more show. And we're back here. This is the Gridiron Show presented by our friends at the Fear People, Shadrik, Deshaun, and you can find us all across your social medias, wherever you could find us. You see the links below. That's how you get in touch with us here on your Instagram, your Twitter, your Facebook, and make sure you're following us on Anchor. It's all easy. It's all good here. We got to talk about this CFL-XFL story because it has me scratching my head a little bit. And yes, my bald, shiny head here, which I look like I'm absolutely shining, and I'm sorry. It's just how it goes. The CFL and XFL are talking partnership, which is weird. Here's the talk here. Here's the rough talk right now of what is this potential partnership and what is it. So here's the story. The XFL and the CFL announced Wednesday that the two leagues are working towards a potential partnership. The league said in a statement that they will work together to identify opportunities for the leagues to collaborate, innovate, and grow the game of football. No agreement has been reached regarding a potential merging of these leagues. The exact nature of a potential partnership has yet to be announced. This is what was said. We are honored and excited to be in discussions with the CFL. It's clear, though, that the early conversations that we share a passion for football, an expansive sense of possibilities, and a deep desire to create more opportunities for players and fans across North America and around the world. Blending the CFL's rich heritage with our fresh thinking and the unique reach and experience of our ownership could be transformative for the game. We are looking forward to learning more about what's possible together with the CFL and where our shared passions take us. So, here's the deal. The XFL was previously planning to return in 2022 after it canceled the 2020 season amid bankruptcy proceedings. The leagues announced Wednesday that those plans have been put on hold due to conversations with the CFL. I was watching Pat McAfee yesterday, and I love my boy Pat McAfee. How he was talking was, hey, The Rock's going to buy the CFL and save the CFL. The CFL last year had some money troubles because of the Canadian government. They wanted a bailout. The Canadian government was acting very, Canadian government. They didn't want to do it. So could this situation be?
If it was hockey, they would have did it.
Oh, heck yeah. They will bend over backwards for hockey. They will do some unspeakable things for hockey.
It gets weird about hockey up there.
Yes. Yes. Not even joking on that. Yes, it gets weird up there. But the CFL possibly, what could happen with the CFL? Because could the CFL as we know it
dissolve into the XFL? I don't know.
Will the XFL have football this year? Because the CFL, right now, the CFL, and I'm going to actually check out the CFL.ca schedule because they do have a schedule. Here's the thing. The CFL is scheduled to play games this year. They are scheduled to play games this year. Their first game of the season, technically speaking, is May 23rd. Their first week is June 10th. So it's interesting.
They're going to need to finish up these proceedings here pretty soon, huh? That's only a couple months away.
Right. If this is the team saying we're going to play in if the league is saying we're going to play in 2021, okay. And with the CFL, in that question, do you continue to play as a league? Or do you say to the league, to Canadians, hey, we're taking our 9 Canadian football teams and merging them with this other league, and we're going to start with teams in Canada and teams in the United States and play under the XFL rules? Or have a mismatch of rules, and it's like
there's so many possibilities that could come from this.
There's so many possibilities. That's the thing.
It could be a brand new football. Football could completely change from this. Who knows?
And that's the thing. There is talk that the XFL has been trying to talk to the NFL as trying to be a feeder or trying to start international football.
I would enjoy this so much. Like the MLB has been doing this for so long.
Right.
Like they've had the minor leagues feeding them solid players forever. why can't football, like, football can, and they get paid.
Right. You
not
can
like-
have, like, there is no reason why you cannot have 32 teams in North America that you could go, like, broop, broop. Like, you have so many injuries in football. So many injuries.
And having a feeder league would just be great. Just pick another guy. He's
Right.
right there.
Right. Here's the thing. Yes, you take away your practice squad, but now you got a feeder system where you could have two feeder systems where you could have two practice squads and know, okay, these guys aren't ready to come up, but we got guys that are ready to come and be NFL ready, and we could sign a guy off the practice squad. We could sign a guy off our feeder system. We know who's in our system. There's teams like right now, the Steelers could have a situation. Right now, they're dealing with cap situation. Wouldn't it be nice to have a feeder system? If you're the Tennessee Titans, you need edge rushers like you need a hit. Wouldn't it be nice to have a feeder system
Right.
where you have edge rushers in the system and you can say, we're pulling you up, let's go.
Again, in the feeder system, they would be getting paid.
Right.
Like, it's less than it wouldn't be like the NCAA just holding on to them and then breaking them down and then sending them up.
It makes too much sense. It really makes way too much sense for the NFL to do that, because the NFL, God bless them, they're very, very good people. It's just a weird situation.
Now, there is one danger I do see in having that feeder system is more injuries.
I do.
That's like there would be it could ruin as many careers as it creates.
Is that a risk worth taking? If you're a team, is it worth the risk to have that reward?
It's not necessarily a risk to the team as much as it's a risk to the players.
You're right there, too. You're absolutely right there on that. And
so I don't know. This could work, but it would need like some solid. They would probably have to change the rules in the XFL so that they don't get hurt, and then they would change the rules, or we could change the rules in the NFL so like you can play harder football again and give the softer rules to the XFL.
Interesting. But the reason why they did the softer rules, lawsuits.
Yeah.
Yeah, but man, it's
and concussions.
Yeah, that too. Concussions. They all suck, but hey, it's unfortunately a part of the game here. All right, here's what we got for you. Coming up next, we got to talk to our dude Fred Wheeler III. He's gonna come in here. He's gonna go over all your draft information, because if you go on scoreonair.com right now, he has released a new mock draft that you can check out for yourself. And in that draft, there is no trades, so you're getting it purely off of what's going on right now. He's reading the tea leaves, so you'll be ahead of the game on draft night. We can't wait. We're going to have him in coming up next here on The Gridiron Show, presented by our friends at the Feeder People. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to the Gridiron Show. We are so happy to have you aboard here on this ride we call football and talk here. As you know, we still have yours truly, Deshaun Isaac. We have Shadrik Brown, and we have another person in the room. And that person in the room is very important to us here because he is your football expert. He is our friend. He's your draft friend here. He is Mr. Fred Wheeler III. His mock draft right now is up on scoreonair.com. Make sure you go check it out. It's a great read. And one thing we want to point out right now on his draft, there are no trades on this draft. So what you're getting is pure. There ain't no hokiness going on. He ain't playing no games here. So we like to welcome Mr. Fred Wheeler to the show, and thank you so much, man. I really appreciate hearing your opinion on football and what's going on with the draft here, as always, man.
Well, thank you for having me on.
All right, let's dive into your mock draft here. So the big news out of if you go look at his draft right now on scoreonair.com is first 8 picks, no changes in there.
No changes.
No changes whatsoever. Pretty much we still think Trevor Lawrence is going to go number 1.
There's no way Trevor Lawrence is living anywhere but Jacksonville for the next 5 years.
And I like what you're thinking on Justin Fields because I kind of do see him going to Atlanta. It fits. It's a good situation.
I think it'll be a case of, at least with Atlanta, they need a quarterback. They're not going to cut Ryan this year because it would be a huge cap hit. I think it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $40 million that it would be combined between the dead cap and it's a mess there. They're one of the teams that are definitely in trouble. They're kind of in cap hell right now.
Yeah, and there's a lot of teams in cap hell right now.
There are.
Because just off the top of my head, we got the Rams in cap hell. Rams are like the worst in cap hell.
Yeah. As of this afternoon, they're still $41 million over the cap.
And is that alone? I'm going to ask a question. Is that all from the trade of Goff to go to Detroit and then bringing Stafford in?
I believe a large portion of it is, but they've also been a team that over the last few years and I'm not a Rams fan because I'm from St. Louis, so I've got a bit of an axe to grind. Yeah, I've got an axe to grind with Kroenke.
Ain't nothing wrong with axes to grind here. We're all about the axes here on.
They've been just scrambling to win a Super Bowl, and they almost did it a couple years ago with where they added Carlos Dunlap? I'm blanking on the kid's name. He's from Florida. He left as a free agent last year, got him from Jacksonville, and I'm just blanking on him.
Yeah, we're blanking on him too.
But they've just added player after player after player trying to win that Super Bowl, and now it's, to a degree, coming back to bite them.
And they've been very, very reliant on free agency. They haven't ever did the draft. As a matter of fact, one thing you'll notice even in this year's draft, the Rams don't have a first-round pick, I don't believe. So they don't have a first-round pick for the next 3 years, I believe.
I think so, because they traded away first-round picks for Goff, or to get rid of Goff, basically. Yeah. Here's first-round picks to go away. I don't know who said, yeah, this is a good idea, but they should be fired.
I don't know what to say after that there.
Jared Goff wasn't stinking up that bad.
I'm not saying he's a great quarterback. I'm saying he's a solid quarterback for the NFL.
He's a definite solid game.
There's probably 12 guys that I would be like, yeah, I'll take Goff over them. Without going through the roster, I could pick 12 guys that I'd be like, yeah, I'd rather have Jared Goff than those guys.
And it's not it's not the worst deal in the world. Okay, yeah, it's a horrible freaking deal.
I'll also take Matt Stafford over Jared Goff, though.
Well, yeah, so would I. He'd be one of the guys that I would take over Jared Goff.
Right, and they probably had that same conversation because everybody thought, hey, they're going to bring in somebody else for him, but no, they said, forget that. We're going to send you off to somewhere. And Timbuktu, the NFL's version of Timbuktu.
Yeah, you're sending him off to parts unknown.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunately what Detroit is now that Cleveland and Buffalo have turned things around. They're they're back to being the laughing stock.
That's what I like to hear. Go ahead. Go Brownies.
All right. Speaking of the Browns, let's go over some of your picks here.
Sure.
There was a change for the Browns. You're going with Zaven Collins, a linebacker from Tulsa, in your newest draft here.
Yeah.
And previously it was another linebacker, but I think it was a switch of.
It was basically a swap of linebackers. Mm-hmm. In the first draft, I had Nick Bolton from Missouri going to the Browns. That would just be it's basically just taking the best player available at that position, which is something that good teams tend to do a lot. They don't worry about, hey, do we need an offensive tackle? Do we need a wide receiver? They say, this is the best guy. Let's just take him.
And I think for the Browns that might be something they need to do because they're looking for guys that can at least put some pressure on offenses and that's why when I went through and I made my changes or made my different picks, Zaven Collins ended up falling. I originally had him going to the New York Giants way up at I think 11 or 12, but in the second draft he fell down to the Browns. He's someone who's capable of rushing the passer. He's capable of dropping into coverage. I don't want to say he's a Swiss Army knife player at linebacker, but he does a lot of things well. Going along in the AFC North here, the Bengals, that pick doesn't change.
That pick does not change.
It's still Christian Darrisaw, offensive tackle from Virginia Tech, and after last year with you have Joe Burrow really showing up and really about to show out, you that offensive line in Cincinnati has been a concern. It's been their offensive and defensive line that's been concerned.
If you're going to take a quarterback that high, you had better be able to protect him.
Exactly.
And that's what this pick is all about. Darrisaw opted out of this past season. Unless I'm thinking of somebody else, but I don't think I am.
You are.
Darrisaw opted out of this season. He was going to be a high draft pick regardless. Everything that I've seen and heard about him hasn't lost anything, hasn't ballooned up, hasn't showed up out of weight or with a bad attitude. The only reason that I have Darrisaw going to the Bengals instead of Penei Sewell is because I had Sewell going to the Miami Dolphins, another team that needs to figure out how to protect their quarterback.
Yeah, and that's kind of a theme that I've been noticing in the NFL. It's not as much as we've been talking about the quarterback situation and the quarterback scramble. We also have to talk about how you're going to protect said quarterback because you have that situation in Seattle where you have Russell Wilson saying, yeah, I've been hit 397 times.
That's a lot.
Can we not have me hit that?
Entering the league, he's been hit the most.
Yes.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's crazy.
he's been targeted
because
a lot.
You tend to think of Seattle as having a very good line over the years, and I guess maybe just the last few years it's kind of crumbled a little bit.
But then again, also pass protection and run blocking, two different things.
Two different things, yes.
Yeah.
You can just go forward a lot.
Yeah.
You got to stand your ground against Aaron Donald. I don't know about that.
And that's how the NFL has been for the last several years, is that there's the important positions are quarterback, no brainer, right?
Duh.
Wide receiver,
Yeah.
left tackle, cornerback, and edge rusher. And those are the premium positions. Those are the positions that, above all others, will get drafted. That's kind of, if you look at the draft, you'll notice that Kyle Pitts fell much further than you'll see him with one of the ESPN drafts. I have him down, I believe, going to the Dolphins at their second pick. And most people are projecting him to be a very high, maybe as high as fourth. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that surprises me too.
Yeah, and I'm looking over the whole AFC North here. We got literally no major changes. You have the Ravens with wide receiver picking Rashad Bateman with the Ravens, and Najee Harris going from Alabama, the running back from Alabama, going to the Steelers. So really no major changes there. That was your only major change there.
Yeah, that was really my only change. With the Ravens, they had one of the worst. Not one of the worst. The worst receiver room last year. They had, I think it was only 1,700 yards from wide receivers last year.
Jeez.
There's guys who do that themselves or get very close in the NFL. They need help. They need to give Lamar Jackson help.
They really do. They need somebody that can just get open.
Yes.
Just get open and catch the ball one time. Like, give me a first down.
Yeah. Yeah. Just now, I don't know how much Lamar Jackson's going to get help from a rookie, especially late in the first round. But they need to add talent there. And if they don't, it's going to stunt his growth as a quarterback. Because we saw what he did his rookie year. He was meh. Neither here nor there. Then he blew up, had an MVP season. And then we saw what happened last year where he really came back to the pack. He actually had a better statistical year from a touchdowns to interceptions ratio, but he just didn't have the playmakers other than Mark Andrews to go out and do those things that you need your receivers to do.
You can't win games, or you can win games, but you can't win championships throwing to your tight end and running backs. You're going to need to get down the field.
No, you need to get down the field.
Yeah, and something I want to ask you here is, you know me, I'm a big Titans fan. So I want to ask you, there was a switch there. You went from Joseph Asai, who was an edge rusher, linebacker from Texas, to Jeremy Asua Carmona. I'm totally butchering his name.
Koromoa.
Karamoa from
Notre Dame.
Outside linebacker from Notre Dame.
The Titans do have that issue. They need to improve their pass rush. But even though they need to improve their pass rush, Koromoa is Owosu Koromoa, I think is his full last name.
I'm going to have to learn his whole name because if he's joining my team, I need to know it well.
Yeah, you'll have to get the XXX jersey to make sure the whole name fits.
Oh, trust me, I can fit that jersey just fine.
I feel you. No, they need to improve their pass rush. If they want to spend a little bit of money in free agency, always possible. I believe that they could bring back Jadeveon Clowney. He's not produced like we expected him to be coming into the league. Everybody remembers that game against Michigan where he basically he de-helmeted. De-helmeted was it?
Got there as the ball got to him. How does that happen on a handoff?
De-helmeted the quarterback, and ESPN said this guy's a future Super Bowl MVP. And now we're looking at his potentially fourth team in 5 years. Either 4 or 5 years.
Right. Yeah.
Texans, Seahawks, Titans, and who knows?
And the thing is, even as a Titans fan, do I want to bring him back? I'm a little bit hesitant because I expect him to be dominant, but he wasn't even
He's not dominant.
A factor.
But he is. He has potential. That's the first thing.
And he draws attention.
I mean, there's very few plays where he's not getting at least chipped by somebody else.
Yeah. So I mean,
but the biggest upside. Sorry.
Oh, my bad.
The biggest upside Clowney has is that he's still young. He's only 26.
I mean, if he can get
if
up
he
there,
if he can turn it around, and sometimes it's just finding the right environment. How many times have we seen, not so much in football, but in other sports, we've seen somebody, they're a head case, they're a problem. They go they go to a team that has a firm foundation and good leadership, and suddenly they're all pro, they're all star, whatever.
T.O.
he was a head case in San Francisco, and then he goes
Dallas.
he went to Philadelphia first, and they got to the Super Bowl, and then he got to Dallas, and he was okay in Dallas. I actually lived in Dallas when he was there, and there was not. I expected daily reports of, T.O. said this in practice, T.O. did this in practice, and there was nothing like that. Sometimes it's just a case of new scenery.
Yeah, and we kind of seen that with even this year in the Super Bowl with I'm trying to think of his name, Antonio Brown, who we had that crazy situation, but once he got into Tampa Bay, he settled down. He really wasn't the head
Really
case.
heard nothing about him after that.
Yeah.
Like, he went under the radar after that.
That was one of the wildest situations I can think of in the NFL in recent history.
That was
anyway.
wild.
Yeah.
It's like, they signed him and they cut him before the preseason finished.
He wanted to get out of that situation so fast it wasn't even funny.
Yes.
So we got free agency coming up next week. By this time on the show next week, we'll be talking about who signed, who didn't sign, who's still out there. Who do you see getting signed really quickly here?
I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see a big. It's going to be like it is every year. You're going to see a flood of free agents sign the first 2 or 3 days, and then there's going to be a not a dead period exactly, but you're going to see 2 or 3 days where nothing really happens, but people are talking. Mm-hmm. With the salary cap going down this year, I think it went down $16 million, right around there. It went down about 10%.
Yeah.
With the salary cap going down this year, I think you're going to see teams either trying to just scrape by and get to next year when the salary cap will, in all likelihood, probably go back up, or you're going to see teams say, this is the year we can get guys cheap. I think that what you will see is you'll see players desperately underpaid. Probably a good example of that I can think of would be Ndamukong Suh. He's a free agent from Tampa. I believe he was at $6.5 million last year, or somewhere in that neighborhood. You could sign him. You could maybe see him signing for half that.
Wow, that is crazy to think about because Ndamukong Suh was just dominant.
He was a dominant player, but he's getting older, and that's how it is. In the NFL, you're always looking to get younger and better and cheaper.
Younger is cheaper.
And younger is cheaper. Yes, you're right.
True that.
Their value hasn't been quantified yet.
Yeah.
Figure it out on the field.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get a pleasant surprise, and sometimes you're going, oh, what did we do?
And there was a weird stat that I saw today. Somebody actually pointed this out to me in our score chat. From 2004 to 2016, all the first round picks are either not playing or not playing with the team that drafted them.
Yeah, teams seem to be much more willing to move on from a player. You didn't used to see that before the rookie salary cap came into place. Every year it was, okay, well, the first overall pick made $10 million this year, so you're going to make 11.5, and the next year it was going to, okay, you're going to make 12.75, and you're going to, and it would just go up and up and up. And teams are much more willing to move on, and I don't know if that's because of the rookie salary cap or if it's just
an analytics thing. I think that teams are giving up on players far too early. We saw this year in the early part of the offseason, it's quieted down quite a bit, but you heard rumors that Miami was willing to move on from Tua, and they drafted him last year. Yeah.
Which makes no sense to me because
the season.
He's your guy.
Yeah.
He's your guy. You didn't have a bad season, but he also didn't have a whole lot to work with.
Right. He didn't have a whole lot.
And with what he had to work with,
he did okay.
well.
Yeah.
Like, considering.
Yeah. He was not the problem.
Not at all. His decision making, he only ran when he needed to, and got the ball down the field, few interceptions,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
rookie season, it happens.
Yep. And you know what, Fred? I'm about cut for time here, but I want to thank you for coming on in here. And please don't be a stranger here on the show, man.
Not a problem.
Because I really appreciate talking with you and picking your mind. Of course, just want to remind you again, everybody, Fred's Mock 2.0 draft is currently up right now on scoreonair.com. Go read it. You're going to be finding out stuff about the NFL that you don't know, and you're going to probably be smarter for it. So thank you, Fred, for being a guest here, man. I really appreciate it, and I love reading your mock drafts. So we'll do it again, man.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
All right. Coming up next, we got to talk about the free agency because we're going to talk about who got tagged and who didn't get tagged because it's more interesting who didn't get tagged this year. So we'll be right back right after this right here on The Gridiron Show. And we're back here for more of the Gridiron Show right here on Score on Air. My name is Deshaun Isaac. That man right there is Shadrik Brown. If you want to find out more about our show, and trust me, I know you do. I know you do because I love it. Because if you love this sport and you love talking about this show or want to be a part of what we do on this show, there is so much we do here. And I'm trying to find, there's something I need to look for because I should have it, but I don't. And I thought I saved it, but no, I didn't. I know where I saved it. I'll pull it up later, but we got to talk about the salary cap because we have some news on that because that happened this week. Yeah, it happened this week, and it was interesting to see what happened with it because dates. What is it? Okay, I'll do. Screw it, we'll do it. I'll find it. But we actually have to talk about this. This is what happens when you're trying to call yourself fiddling around and you don't know what you put your stuff at before you did the show. So we have to talk about the salary tag. Sorry about that. The franchise tag. We now know who's been officially tagged this year. Here's who was tagged. Just if you need a little refresher. Marcus Williams, he's a safety from the New Orleans Saints. He was tagged this year. So he's a safety coming off of an impressive 2020 campaign where he recorded 59 combined sacks, 7 pass defended, and 3 interceptions. He pretty much was so good. He ranked 6th among safeties. They're going to pay him $11.196 million this year. The Denver Broncos are keeping their safety Justin Simmons. Carolina's going to keep their tackle Taylor Monton. Marcus May, free safety. Well, he's staying with the Jets. Leonard Williams, defensive tackle. He's staying with the Giants. New York football, not New York football team, Washington football team. Because there's only one football team. We don't know their name. We just know them as football team.
Yeah.
Brandon Sheriff, OG. Oh, I'm making sure I got your mic there. He is sticking around there. Brandon Sheriff, he's your offensive guard. He's sticking around there. 4-time Pro Bowler. He was named to the Pro Bowl All-Pro for the first time in 2020 despite missing 3 games with a knee injury. So he's the first player to be named a first-team All-Pro since punter Matt Turk in 1996. He only allowed 3 sacks in 857 snaps last year. So that's how good he was.
Impressive.
Yep. Chris Goodwin, we knew he was staying. He's been franchise tagged. He's going to make $16 million this year. They pretty much when Bruce Arians said, "Yo, this ain't going nowhere." He ain't going nowhere. Jacksonville Jaguars, Cam Robertson, he's not going anywhere. And Robertson started all 16 games, played 974 snaps at tackle. He's set to make $14.57 million. $507 million under the tag in 2021. And Allen Robertson, they thought he was gone. Nope, not gone. If he hit the market, he would have drawn serious interest from more than a dozen teams. He's going to be out doing his thing. He's now due to make $18 million in 2021. He has until July 15th to be extended in the Windy City. If he wants to stay, he's a little bit aggravated by that, by being paid $18 million next season.
I mean,
nope. Yep.
If you feel you're valued, I mean, yeah, I would be upset as well.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him for feeling like he's a little aggravated. Note who's not on that list. Shaquille Barrett, not on the list.
That's wild.
Seattle is letting their running back go. Kenny Golladay, not on that list. There are also not on that list Aaron Jones. A lot of guys that you would think be on that list are not on that list. So there's a lot of free agents out there right now.
High value free agents.
And it's just crazy to think right now that there is that many free agents available right now just to be had. I mean,
I don't know if this is the season to be a free agent, though.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think it is. I don't think this is the best season. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's the best season to be a free agent. This is like, congratulations. You picked the worst season possible to be a free agent.
Like, there's no cap space for anybody. Nobody can take a high value running back or a high value receiver.
Yeah, and that's a crazy thing here, because now you got to look at the situation here. I'm going to give you what the top 10 according to ESPN of who they think are the top 10 guys that are going to get like your top 10 free agents out there right now. Trent Williams, he actually right now is a free agent this year. He started 14 games for 49ers, and he literally has become the top free agent. There are teams that are going to be out there as an offensive tackle that they're going to need this guy.
I can name at least 5 teams that need an offensive tackle. Like right now, Kansas City definitely needs an offensive tackle. They just let their top 2 go.
Right. Can they afford Trent Williams? That's the question.
They better find the money.
Yeah. Hunter Henry, tight end from the Chargers. He's 26 and he's entering free agency. He got 60 passes under the Chargers franchise tag in 2020. You would think the Chargers would at least try to get him a deal, but no, they released him. And they're asking, could he approach the productivity of a Travis Kelce or a Darren Waller or one of these other good tight ends?
I believe so.
I believe so. You literally got a guy who caught 60 passes under the franchise tag last year with a rookie quarterback. Imagine what you could have if you put him with a established quarterback.
Especially one that really knows how to work a seam. A tight end work, he'll be solid. That
to me seems like a vicious situation if you're a team right now, if you got Hunter Henry available there.
Absolutely.
You got Yannick,
that's a nice weapon.
Yeah. And Yannick Ngakoue. He was with the Baltimore Ravens this past season. He's a free agent. You got teams that need edge rushers. You got Bud Dupree. Hey, there's another edge rusher in at least the top 4. How about Kenny Golladay? Need a wide receiver? Need a number 1 wide receiver?
For real.
There's teams that need a number 1 wide receiver. His contract year was a bust as injuries forced him to miss 11 games. He showed that he can be a big-time downfield number 1 receiver. He got 17 touchdown receptions in 2018, 2019, and that was the 7th most over that span. Jonu Smith, which I'm kind of mad that they're trying to let him go, but hey, I wish he came back to Tennessee. I hope he comes back to Tennessee, but they kind of need him. They kind of need him to come back. I hope they offer him a good contract to come back, at least. Never edge rusher, Trey Hendrickson, and Aaron Jones. This one is a weird one because of this. Only Dalvin Cook has more career rushing yards than Jones, because Jones has 3,364. Dalvin Cook has 361. And only Alvin Kamara has more rushing touchdowns, 43-37. But Jones didn't sign a contract extension. So his rookie deal, he's going to test the annual running back conundrum. How much of a market will there be for a back like Jones with 782 touches worth of tear on his body?
But he's healthy still.
He's healthy. He's absolutely healthy. He's actually, to be honest, one of the most durable running backs you have out there.
Yeah. Balance is great. His speed is great. He's strong for his size. And
listen, you could sign him for a 4-year deal and pay him a good amount of money, and you're still getting a good investment.
And he got to play with Aaron Rodgers, so he's smarter now.
Not even just smarter, a better player as he moves forward. I would there are 5 or 6 teams right now that I would say sign this guy. Chicago would be kind of one of them because let's admit Chicago needs a running back. Chicago needs a running back.
Somebody to take the pressure off of their non-existent passing game.
Here's a fact that a lot of people will be shocked to hear. 101 seasons of football in Chicago that the Bears have existed. They have existed for 101 years. They've never had a 4,000-yard passer. Never had a 4,000-yard passer in their history.
Yeah.
Interesting there. You got Shaquille Barrett, another edge rusher. And if you need a center, you got Corey Lindsey available. So that's your top 10 right there. If you need offensive line help, if you need tackle help, if you need edge rushing help, linebackers, your best linebacker coming in is Matt Milano. Hold up. He's off the list. Sorry, my bad. He's off the list. He re-signed with Buffalo for a 4-year, $44 million deal.
Smart move, Buffalo.
That actually just broke while we were talking here. While we were talking on air and talking with our boy, our main man, Fred, Matt Milano said, I'm coming back. 4 years, $44 million extension. I'm good. They made several moves to clear up cap space because they wanted to sign him. They restructured the contracts of the center, defensive tackle, releasing wide receiver John Brown, defensive lineman Quentin Jefferson. That cleared roughly $14 million cap space, paving the way for Milano's return. He missed 6 games in 2020, and his absence was obvious whenever he was not on the field. In fact, the only regular season game that the Buffalo Bills lost occurred when Milano was injured. So he's back with the Bills. So nope, he's not leaving anywhere. He's got a deal. Congratulations to you. You get paid. All right.
Absolutely. Need that presence in the middle.
Oh my God. Don't you ever need that presence in the middle here. Let me try one more time because I know for a fact I have a file that has all of our social media because I think if you're a fan of the show, you kind of want to be a part of what we do here on Gridiron Show, and you want to follow us on social media wherever you go. Please make sure you're following The Gridiron Show on Facebook at facebook.com/The Gridiron Show, on Twitter at Gridiron_show, on Instagram at gridiron.show. Again, that's gridiron.show. And if you want to listen to any recordings of this show, and if you like this show, you want to listen to it again, anchor.fm/The Gridiron Show. Again, that's anchor.fm/The Gridiron Show if you want to listen to it again. We got one more break to take. We're going to take that one more break right now, but when we come right back, we're going to even though this isn't a Gridiron topic, 1 year ago, the whole sports world changed. We're going to talk about it right now. We're going to talk about it coming up on the show in a moment. This is The Gridiron Show, presented by the Fitter People, right here on Score on Air, the Next Generation Sports Talk. And we are back here with more of The Gridiron Show. It's time for us to take this baby home here, and we're going to talk about a topic that's not football related, but who's surprised we don't have a topic that's football related here on the show once in a while. A couple non-football related stories, but I want to focus on one that today it's kind of weird that we're talking about this as Ohio kind of announced today that we actually had our 150th press conference from the governor. Woo! But a lot of other things happened on this day. We literally were talking about, like, today on this day, 1 year ago, sports stopped. 1 year ago tonight, sports stopped for all intents and purposes. All the leagues literally stopped in their tracks, and we actually even had questions and wondering, like,
if it would ever come back.
If would it come back, and how would it come back? Like, how would football and how would sports come back when under this situation and under this issue? And I go back. I've been thinking about that, where we were 1 year ago, because I remember that the day after, literally we at Score on Air literally had a meeting, and we all met up, and like all the team met up, and we were at Roosters, and it was a big group, which ironically you can't have a big group anymore. You can't crowd a big old room of just the whole crew of us, just big gold folks over at Score on Air in there. And we had to brainstorm things of what would we talk about? What the heck would we talk about after with no sports? That's
a serious like conundrum. A sports show. You gotta have something to talk about.
And one of the most famous things that we did here on Sports Unfiltered, which the show used to be, the colors kind of is a nod to that, was what we did was we did a fast food tournament, which I remember the champion was Arby's versus Cane's. Arby's won. We had some upsets in there too. A&W took out somebody, took out Chipotle. It was weird. It was a weird tournament, but we had some upsets. We had some one shining moments in the tournament, but I'm happy to have the real NCAA tournament back this year. But now we got a couple new restaurants coming to town. Bojangles is now going to come to town. And here's the thing. My dad is from, he knows the Tennessee area. He knows Bojangles and what it's all about. He said, dude, it's the truth. And just down the street here, we're about to get a new Del Taco. So a lot of fast food is moving. We got to do that one of these days, but probably won't be on this show. But we're just thinking about 1 year ago today, the whole sports landscape changed. And we were, and even Score on Air as an organization, we didn't know what we would do next. Because they were about to have a new class come in, and we have no sports to talk about. So what we did was we learned about OBS. We learned about all these other things. And I think it prepared us for where we're at now. And where we're at 1 year later, and with me, we're about to do the Ohio High School. We're about to do the OSHAA high school. Of course it's high school, dang it. It's OSHAA. The hockey championships, which was canceled. A lot of sports were canceled. A lot of things were canceled. We didn't have a actual sports event until the Brick League. So we didn't have any spring baseball. We didn't have anything to really broadcast to people. We only had studio shows, and we had to do the studio shows from at home.
That is hard.
It was hard, but dang it, we did it.
I'm glad I missed that. I'm glad I got here after it was a little bit more. It opened up a little bit more again.
Right. I'll say this. It made me feel like we can do anything. It made us feel like we could take on the world and give the world a middle finger and feel like we can do it. Because we took on its worst and strove and just did it. And that is amazing. And looking back at that first 3 months, that first 90 days, where all the events were canceled, Red, White, and Boom was canceled, ComFest, Arts Festival, all those festivals were just stay-at-home events. It's going to be a completely different summer because people are going to be hesitant to going back out, but I'm ready for it.
Yeah. I don't know if they'll be that hesitant. They're in Texas. They seem pretty ready to get back out.
Texas is... No. Here's what Texas is. Texas is the crazy uncle in the room go like, you're a need on there. We're going to open up everything. Like, dude, what about this? Like, at least Ohio's going like, listen, here's the thing. We got a number. Once we hit this number, we opening up everything. Once this number is hit for 2 weeks, we ain't got no worries. We opening up everything. Don't you worry.
Because that would be a quantifiable goal.
Right.
Texas just
went like middle finger to the air and said, bleep you guys, I'm opening up everything.
F it, we're doing it live.
Yeah.
Go out
thing
there.
Sucks. There's no words on it. But that is something interesting there as we look back 1 year ago today, that the day sports stopped. And we still are, even though sports is going, we're about to get more sports. It killed a league too.
Yeah.
Killed two things. It killed a women's football team here in Columbus. The Comets don't exist anymore.
Oh, man.
Yeah. The Columbus Comets women's football team ended operations in late January.
That's tragic.
It is. I talked about it on our previous podcast there as well.
As a sports fan, you couldn't go to any of your scheduled games. You couldn't go to the arenas and have a beer and cheer on your team. You had to watch it from the confines of your couch.
Listen, as much as I like my couch, I want to go back to Huntington Park and eat 10-cent hot dogs. And I know the hot dogs are salty as you know what. I remember after eating 5 hot dogs, I was like, God, my mouth is dry. Well, I wonder
5? And that sounds like you weren't even done yet.
You are never done on Dime a Dog night. You buy 5 dogs, and they were like little hot dogs. They were about that big. So, man, it's Dime a Dog night. You're never done on Dime a Dog night. If you got $2, you got a dinner.
That's solid.
That's how it works there. But yeah, that we just pause and remember even though we lost a lot of sports fans, a lot of people who are football fans in our lives and all that stuff, it didn't really hit home that this was a crazy series. This was actually the most serious situation we ever went through in a generation when sports actually stopped.
It wasn't all the lives lost. That's not what got us.
Yeah, the lives.
It was the fact that we couldn't be entertained by people getting hit by each other.
Right. And come on, you have Texas literally opening up everything. They're literally saying, screw it, we're going to open up everything. Like, what are you doing? Even businesses are going like, what are you doing? We want to open up everything. Well, yeah, we want to open up everything too. Then be with us. Like,
we just don't want everybody to die.
If you die, we can't do anything.
You can't spend money when you're dead. That's what. I don't get it.
You have to.
For such a. You know,
have to sit the Texan governor down and just say, you can't spend any money when you're dead.
Listen here, partner.
Oh yeah, I want to point out something from yesterday. Julian let's give you up on a very good note here because we talked about this yesterday. Julian Edelman, he actually emailed. I'm trying to find the story here. Julian Edelman. I'm trying to find the Julian Edelman story here of the Patriots because Edelman actually messaged the guy who said the dumb thing.
Yeah.
It was actually very classy. He was actually suspended today by the NBA, by the way.
Trying to find his name.
Yeah. I want to get that Edelman story. Metal.
Myers Leonard. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't say that type of stuff.
Yeah, you can't say that stuff.
He's out here using anti-Semitic racial slurs over a game.
Yeah,
Sounds
matter
like,
of fact,
sounds like 09 Call of Duty when
Yeah,
little 12-year-olds are on
right.
there.
Here's the thing. Julian Edelman did write a letter to him. He is Jewish. He wrote an open letter to Myers Leonard about Leonard's use of the anti-Semitic slur. Of course, Effie used the K word, which is a horrible word. Do not use that ever. He said he will be away from the Heat. Definitely, the NBA said you'll be away from the Heat for a week. You can't come into the facilities. You owe us $50,000. You're going to find out. But Edelman actually sent a classy letter. He is the classiest person in the NFL. Here's what he wrote to him. He said, "So we've never met. I hope we can one day soon. I'm sure you've been getting a lot of criticism for what you said. Not trying to add to that. I just want to offer some perspective. I get the sense that you didn't use that word out of hate, more out of ignorance. More likely, you weren't trying to hurt anyone or even profile Jews in your comment. That's what makes it so destructive. When someone intends to be hateful, it's usually met with great resistance. Casual ignorance is harder to combat and has greater reach, especially when you command great influence. Hate is like a virus. Even accidentally, it can rapidly spread. I am down in Miami fairly often. Let's do a Shabbat dinner with some friends, and I'll show you a fun time. J.E." So he handles it with class. He is one of the more classy guys in the NFL, and it's good to hear that he's doing good there. And we have reached the end of our show, man. This is show number 1. Welcome to the new era, man.
Thank you.
Hopefully-
Glad to bring it in.
Hopefully it's the Shadrik Brown era. Every co-host bring their new era in, and I welcome you in, man, to this great little ride we call the Gridiron Show era.
Thank you. I try.
Welcome, and for you all at home, thank you for joining us. God bless, and hopefully you have a good one. And don't forget, tonight, our boys, the Buckeye Bros Show, will have more conversations on what's going on with this COVID situation in Ohio State. They're going to break down what is the impact on the spring football season and all that stuff. That's with Travis Napier and That's with Travis and Alex coming up at 8 o'clock tonight, right here on Score on Air. So for all of us here, we say God bless. Thank you for making us a part of your evening, and we'll see you again next week for the Gridiron Show. Goodbye, everybody, and we'll see you next week.